Well, the Kyle Rittenhouse case may very well end in a hung jury. Obviously, there's a holdout or several holdouts who are having a hard time admitting the obvious truth that Kyle acted in self-defense. And if there's a couple Black Lives Matter supporters or CNN viewers on the jury, then obviously they're going to have diminished mental capacities and have a hard time understanding facts and evidence. Many of the jurors are probably also quite understandably concerned that if they rightfully acquit, then they're going to be doxxed or identified, stalked, harassed, and potentially even worse by the angry mob, which will, of course, burn down the rest of Kenosha once the verdict comes through. And someone working for NBC was just found to be stalking the jurors as they were leaving the courtroom, as they do every day in a van. They're taken to a discreet location in a van, where then they exit and get into their vehicles to help try to protect their anonymity. And someone working for NBC was stalking them and probably driving erratically in order to try to keep up and find out where they were going. And they blew a red light or blew a stop sign and were thankfully stopped and ticketed. The judge denounced this stalking and then banned MSNBC or NBC or both from sending reporters into the courtroom from this point on. NBC News then released a deceptive half-truth statement claiming that they weren't trying to contact the jurors during deliberation, trying to make it seem like it was just a coincidence. They just happened to be driving on the same road, just right behind the jury van when they happened to be driving erratically and blow a red light and get pulled over. Of course, they weren't deliberating. Deliberations had ended. They were on their way home. And NBC is trying to just obfuscate the facts that they were stalking the jurors when they were on their way home. If any jurors want to give an interview after this case wraps up, I'm sure they'll contact the media themselves. And it appears that Jump Kick Man has finally been identified, and what a surprise! Like everyone else who attacked Kyle Rittenhouse that night, he too has a lengthy criminal record, and in fact is in jail right now because of an unrelated crime. A lot of people have said a lot of stupid things about this case, and one of the stupidest is by a Black Lives Matter activist up in Portland, who I believe is the same one who was arrested several years ago on suspicion of kidnapping and strangling his then girlfriend, who tweeted out, quote, "Employers, consider giving your black employees a day off or two after the Rittenhouse verdict. Regardless of the outcome, it's going to be hard for black people to work, and it isn't fair to expect them to." Actor Matthew Modine revealed that he barely even finished reading headlines about the case by tweeting, "Is Kyle Rittenhouse wearing surgical gloves? If so, why? To cover his fingerprints? Why would he load his weapon with bullets, travel to an event, aim the rifle at people, pull the trigger of the rifle he'd loaded, unless he went there with intent to kill?" And by the way, this is a recent tweet. This isn't something he posted the night of the incident or immediately after when a lot of people hadn't figured out what happened. This is something he just posted. I mean, that's almost as dumb as Joe Scarborough over on MSNBC claiming the Kyle popped off 60 rounds just randomly into the peaceful protesters.
Here we have a 17-year-old kid. He appointed himself a militia member. He goes around and he ends up unloading, what, 60 rounds, kills 2 people, wounds a 3rd person.
He's gonna get sued along with a whole bunch of other servants of Satan as soon as this whole thing is finally over. Over on Fox News, Geraldo Rivera isn't much brighter. Surprisingly, he did say that Kyle should be acquitted, but he is parroting the nonsense that Kyle might be a white supremacist. And the evidence for this is the photo of him making a Make America Great Again hand sign, or the OK hand sign, which, as you know, mentally ill people believe is a secret code for white supremacy.
I found the articles that had the pictures of him giving the white supremacy sign on the QT. I got the picture here. You're what joking? Okay.
Holy crap.
Let it be. I hope you're right. But if indeed he is connected with the white supremacists.
You say you're a lawyer, you're based on facts, and you bring up something about this.
And what is that? Means nothing to you?
Yes, means nothing.
By the way, the prosecution tried to enter that photograph into evidence so that they could smear Kyle during the trial as a white supremacist. Thankfully, the judge rejected that. Pray for Kyle and pray for the city of Kenosha. He won't get convicted, but even if it's a hung jury, the terrorist mob will likely destroy large parts of the city. And not to mention the prosecutor very well may bring the case back, force him to have another trial, and then this time they'll coach Gage Grosskreutz into not admitting the obvious on the stand in front of the jury next time by saying that Kyle didn't shoot him until he pointed his gun at Kyle's head first. Nobody knows how this thing's going to turn out, at least right now at the time I'm recording this. One thing we do all know, however, is that Joe Biden is one of the worst, if not the worst, presidents in the history of the United States, and he's only been in office for less than a year. Of course, that's why F Joe Biden chants keep breaking out at sports stadiums and other places across the country. At this point, everyone's familiar with Let's Go Brandon, but some people prefer the original. And if that's you, I'm sure you'll enjoy my new F Joe Biden shirt. Order yours from my online store at markdice.com or click the link in the description below. Yes, it is a Wheel of Fortune parody. It's a Mark Dice original. Would you like to buy a vowel? I'm sure you would. Like all of my designs, it's available in a t-shirt, long sleeve, and a hoodie, and a whole bunch of different colors as well. So head on over to markdice.com or click the link in the description below and check them out.